Okay, then 80% win rate strategy. I'm going to explain to you what the strategy is, and then I'm going to show you some examples recently. Just going to go back through the charts and find some examples, show you how the strategy works. If you want to get alerts and signals for this, you can get them in the description below. Please do drop a like and subscribe as well. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section and I'll reply to every single one of you about how the strategy works and anything else that you might want to know. So basically, this is the strategy. Very, very simple. You're looking for accumulation in the markets like this. Trading on NQ, this tends to work best on NQ, which is NASDAQ 100 futures, although you can trade this on other markets as well with good success. As we can see, we've got our accumulation. We're looking for a manipulation below a clear liquidity level getting swept, and then we're looking to catch the distribution back up to the upside like this, usually with a fair value gap. That'll look something like this. You want to enter when you invert that fair value gap back to the upside, and you're looking to target liquidity points back up through the V-shaped recovery of this move, something like this. Very, very simple strategy to find on the charts, which is why I've been liking it so much. And with the break-even strategy that I've been using as well, in terms of going break-even once you hit a 1R, I've been able to avoid a lot of large losses as well, which is making the win rate really high. And overall, I've just been having a lot of fun trading this because it is so simple and pretty obvious on the chart, so you don't have to worry about loads and loads of analysis, and it's easy to spot the trades when they come. Very, very simply, all I do is I wait for this accumulation. I look for a manipulation down below a clear level of liquidity like this, preferably delivering from a nice gap to the side as well. Obviously in the past here, if we had a nice big fair value gap, bouncing out of this and then inverting a fair value gap here is the ideal scenario, because you're basically bouncing out of a big area of demand. And you can see here we'd be looking to enter basically on the inversion of the fair value gap back to the upside. Stop loss is a manual close back below the fair value gap. I don't use hard stops unless we have some very volatile conditions. And I'm targeting a 1-for-1. Once we hit 1-for-1 like this, I go break even, take half the position off, close half the position, keep the rest of the position open, go break even, and then target liquidity points back up through the V shape. Take half off here and the rest off at the final target. And that is the strategy. Very, very simple to find on the charts. I think this is a pretty good strategy. And I've been having some great success with it. As I said, around an 80% win rate over the past 6 months, if you wait for those really, really good trades. And I think I can actually see a trade right here, right now. You can see we've got a pretty decent area of accumulation here with a clear level of manipulation and a lovely V shape back up in hindsight. As you can see, this wouldn't have quite closed above the first fair value gap, as you can see. I mean, it would have actually been invalid because we hit the internal swing high here before we got the entry. But if I remember correctly from earlier when I looked at the charts, if you go on the 1 minute time frame here, you can see within that V shape, there was this lovely textbook V shape here. You can see accumulation here, manipulation. We get that accumulation again and that manipulation within the larger V shape that we just saw. Pretty obvious fair value gap here. As you can see, you could extend this down here if you want. As you can see, this is a really, really good momentum candle back up. You want to see these big aggressive candles back to the upside and you'll get a much better success rate. You generally want to wait for those really obvious big V shapes like this. You can see this was an absolutely incredible candle back up. I would have entered if I was awake for this. Sadly, I was asleep. But as you can see, lovely candle back to the upside, waiting about 5 minutes, and then we started running back up through the V shape. I would have had my 1-for-1 here. I would have gone break even on the rest. Probably had a target back about halfway up through the V shape and then at the high. And as you can see, this would have worked out absolutely perfectly. Pretty much in the space of around 10 or 15 minutes, all targets hit for around 4R. Obviously, if you take half off at 1-for-1 and then half here and half here, it's probably more like 2 to 1R. Still a fantastic trade and a really good example of the strategy. Really, really good stuff. Lovely little trade there on the 1 minute. Recently, we've had quite a lot of chop. As you can see, there was a trade here as well, which probably would have been a trade that I would have taken. Take a quick look at this. You can see we've got a fair value gap here. We've got accumulation, manipulation down below this key level of liquidity. A decent momentum back to the upside. You could have entered on this area here like this. Targeting a 1-for-1. 1-for-1 would have got hit in the space of around what we're looking at here, 4 minutes. And then I would have got break even on the rest here, as you can see, because I would have gone break even after scaling half, but that's completely fine. Still another good trade. very, very clear, and obviously very, very obvious to spot as well. Last week was a bit of a weird one in terms of trades. There wasn't very many trades at all. It was quite a sketchy week in terms of price action, to be honest. There were a few trades. As you can see, I think there was one. I'm trying to remember where it was. I think there was one here in the afternoon which would have worked. I think there was potentially one here. At the very least, there was one down here that you could have taken. I think it was a 30-second though, which I don't have on my chart right now. Unless it was the 3-minute. I'm sure there was a 3-minute that I took last week as well. Yeah, this one here would have been technically failed, but I think I was already done by then. But I'll just go through and find the ones that I can remember. There was quite a lot of trades last week, but they weren't exactly the most textbook V-shaped recoveries that you'd be looking for. You can see we did come down here and sweep out a good amount of liquidity. I think there was a 30-second entry down here that I took. But obviously, I don't have the 30-second on this chart right now. But as you can see, there are plenty of V-shapes all over. This is some crazy NVIDIA stuff here, by the way. I think this basically scuppered a lot of the rest of the week's price action. But as you can see, if you look across the chart here, there's tons and tons of V-shapes that you could have taken. This one here was an absolutely perfect setup, in my opinion. Take a look at this. You've got your accumulation. We actually get a sweep here. You could have taken this, actually. Let's just take a look at this. This was in the afternoon. Got our accumulation here. Manipulation to sweep liquidity. Clear and obvious fair value gap. It didn't actually close above, did it? Literally to the tick. How frustrating is that? That would have been a perfect trade, as you can see. Didn't close though, so I can't technically count that one. But you can see this one down here. I know for a fact that this one closed on my broker, which is why I took it. Let's just take a look here if I can stop messing around with my settings. Obvious accumulation, manipulation down. We actually get a second manipulation again, then get the fair value gap inversion here, which was a really obvious one. This would have been a good trade as well. Target you 1 for 1. That would have got a hit straight away. Rest of it break even. Targets runners up, back up through the V shape. That would have eventually gone up and hit a really nice 6R or something like that. Going into the evening, another really good trade and a great example of what you can do with the strategy. Pretty sure there was another trade somewhere around here, but I think I was waiting for this sell side down here to get hit, and we never did. So, but anyway, I'll leave it at that because you can see there are tons and tons of V shapes all over this chart, and your goal is to go use the strategy and try and catch these back to the upside. I mean, if you just eyeball this, you can see how many there are. This one here was absolutely gorgeous in terms of the V shape. It's about as textbook as you get. Look at that. But anyway, I really do appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe, leave a comment if you want signals for this. Get them down below in the description, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.